Hey, Autumn Athletes, Larry Sorensen here, and today I'm going to connect with Micheal LeBold and find out what makes him an Autumn athlete that's not done yet. Before we get started, please remember, if you enjoy our content, smash that subscribe button and support the channel. We would appreciate it. All right, let's get this thing started. Micheal, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't you kick us off with a brief introduction of yourself?
Okay, Micheal LeBold, age 66, San Diego native, um, self-employed artist, drawing, painting, sculpture, San Diego State graduate, did most of my running in college at UC Santa Barbara, the oldest of three boys. My mom, 88, still works full-time, Dinosaur Museum and up in Woodland Park, Colorado. My dad passed away a few years ago, freelance artist that somehow, some way supported a family of five. And I have a new little dog named Sneasel because he sneezes a lot. He has a collapsed trachea, a little rescue Chihuahua, old and deaf that nobody wanted.
Well, Micheal, thanks for joining us. It's great to meet you. Why don't you take us back in time a little bit and give us an idea of your athletic history?
I identified my strong suits very early on in grade school. Always the smallest person in every class, every team I was ever on, but I was always first in the 600-yard run around the backstops. So I'm not a sprinter, but I played all the sports growing up, baseball, football, basketball, did a lot of swimming, made it as far as varsity football in high school, but I soon gravitated to track and cross country. Set school records in the 880 and the 330 low hurdles. My dad taught me to hurdle, a member of the 1949 USC National Track Championship team, and I was able to turn that hurdling experience into a steeplechase career later on in college. Went to Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara, set school records there in the steeple, the 5,000, the 10,000. Made an NCAA final, got to run in Eugene, Oregon in 1978. Came up 5 seconds short in 1980 for an Olympic trials qualifying mark in the steeplechase. 1981, I run a 106 half marathon. By 1984, I am done. I am retired. I'm finished. I got to move on with the rest of my life. There's no such thing as a professional runner back then. Strict amateurism. And so on I went. Fast forward to 40, I'm coaching high school track and cross country, teaching art, and running with the kids, not competing. At 50, I start my second career as a runner. I stumble upon an indoor track at a gym, and I run on that exclusively for the next 8 years. 5K time trials every week after week, month after month, year after year. I get faster, a lot of injuries too. I rejoined my old Hamul Toads cross country team, which I was a member of in the 1970s. So now I can post pictures in the same racing singlet, literally 50 years apart, a half century apart. Mostly cross country road racing. At 60, I rediscover my first love, track and the 880 and or the 800 meters now. So 800 meters, 1500 meters, the mile. I'll go 3000 meters too, but that's my focus now, and that pretty much is a real brief history there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so during all of that time, whether it was back when you were younger or even getting back into masters, was there anything or anyone in particular that really inspired you?
I really just kind of stumbled upon running again. Really, it was something I really had no intention of ever doing. It was something I just used to do. I didn't even really care to talk about it anymore. But once I started, really, I got to go farther back. It was my mom who drove the car next to me in the dark before school in high school when I was determined to do 2-a-day workouts, and she would get up early with me. And my dad, who again taught me how to hurdle, and somehow you know, as a self-employed artist, took us on vacations, weeks-long vacations across the country. My brother and I would get out of the car, we'd break camp, run 8 miles in the direction we're going. My parents would come by, pick us up, we'd jump in the car, have a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days. We would run 8 miles in the direction we're going. My parents would come by, pick us up, jump, we'd jump in the car, have a day, set up camp in the evening, go for a short run. I mean, it was just that those are my heroes. Without them, without that kind of support, I couldn't have done any of that, really.
You did make a mention of setbacks. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the setbacks you had over your athletic career?
The list of injuries is long, of course. Fasciotomy in when I was in college, surgery that caused me to redshirt a year. I had testicular cancer, which is a pretty common cancer for young athletic men. That caused me to miss months of training. Fortunately, I'm all better now. And let's see, there was tore up a hamstring, much more recent, tore up a hamstring in my 50s, wrenched and twisted up pretty good an MCL, doing 300 hurdles at 60, an ill-advised race, which is, and the reason I'm not doing the steeple today. I can't risk it on that knee. Let's see. I think that's, I resorted to acupuncture at one point last year to try to alleviate a high quad injury. But I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, so you've had a long athletic career. You've done very well. You've had a few setbacks, but overcame them, obviously. So here's a chance for you to kind of brag a little bit upon yourself. You did mention about some of your accolades from way back in the day, but kind of fill us in on your outstanding achievements throughout your career.
When I get together with old runners, I'm kind of loath to talk about what I used to do because I'd rather talk about what I'm just did or what I'm doing now. Where I'm going, but I am proud of what I did. School records at UC Santa Barbara, Steeple, 8:49, 5K, 14:22, 10K, 29:43. Oh, and more recently, 2019, with my Hummel-Toad teammates, we won a national cross-country championship as a team. I won the local USATF Masters Long Distance Runner of the Year in 2019. That's road, track, cross country. Last year, I was the local USATF Masters in San Diego Track and Field Athlete of the Year. I am the two-time defending indoor national champion in 800 meters, men's 65 and over. The two-time outdoor 800-meter national champion in the Senior Games. So I've kind of found that kind of 800 niche, which I'm so grateful for. Just back from Chicago a couple months ago at the Indoor Nationals, where 4 of us got together and we set the world record for men's 65 in the 4x800 relay. That's something that goes into the resume. Oh God, last year was a year to remember. 35,000 miles, air miles, traveling the country, 14 different national championships, in and out of 9 different states, 40 different airports. But I finished second in the National Masters Grand Prix. So, and next year, I can't wait. It will be my first world championship competition, indoor track world championship. So looking forward to that.
So what is in store for you in the near future and moving forward?
Yeah. Next week is our local San Diego Masters track and field championship. I just do everything there. I'll do the 400, I'll do the 800, the 1500, I'll do the 3000. But more importantly, next month is the outdoor National Masters track championships in Sacramento. It's nice that it's a lot closer. Last year was in Greensboro. I've done that in Greensboro, Lexington, Ames. I've been out in Pittsburgh. To Florida so many times I can't even count them. So that's next month, 800, 1500. And then after that, in the fall, we go back to Dirt Dog Cross Country with my team, and we'll be doing the National Club Championships. I believe it's in Spokane this year. And of course, as I mentioned before, I'm looking forward so much to trying to get that trifecta, 3 800-meter national titles in a row, both indoor and outdoor.
Fill us in on your training regimen, which would include everything from, running on the track, off the track, as well as anything else you do cross training, whether it be weightlifting, yoga, what have you. Just kind of fill us in on your entire training regimen so that we can be as successful as you are.
It's radically changed since I turned 60. All through my 50s, it was those brutal 5K indoor time trials, just one after another after another. But since I turned 60, I've just radically changed everything. And it's high intensity, again, more high intensity interval training, but it's on the grass. Saturday morning with my group, just love that. Just absolutely love it. Tuesday night with another group, high intensity on the grass. We were doing repeat 400s this last Tuesday. I've introduced cross training with the stationary bike sprints, 30 minutes, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, just going max out. Let's see, yesterday was a 6 mile run back and forth on the boardwalk at the beach. Again, just maximum effort all the time. It's the most important thing there are, the stair sprints. 100 stairs, Convention Center, San Diego, the only thing that was open during the COVID lockdown here in California. And I just hit those over and over and over again. And that's a near-death experience. That's an hour plus sprints 2 at a time, and until you think you're going to pass out. I don't do any easy running. It's basically all maximum effort, and I take 1 day off a week to just rest up. So that's, yeah. And the weights, huge weights. I've gone from low weight, high reps, which I've done all my life, to just the heaviest weight I can possibly push with my legs. And over a period of months, you get twice as strong as you did, and you're twice as strong as that. Yeah, that's been a huge part of what I do, and how I've trained since I turned 60, almost 7 years ago now.
All right, so all the training is part of being fit. The other part is fueling your body. So give us your approach to diet and nutrition.
Yeah, my diet's pretty perfect. It's pretty boring. It's pretty perfect. I don't know if anybody else can do it. It's oatmeal 365 days a year, basics, fresh fruit, vegetables, beans and yogurt every night. It's the one thing I really gone heavier on this last couple of years was protein. The whey isolate protein powder, the ground turkey, upwards of 100 grams of protein per day, which is an awful lot for somebody my size, which I'm like 5'7", 130 pounds. I think I'm probably more like 134 now. I think I've gained like 5 to 7 pounds, but we're talking about weight to power ratio, and I think that's power has come with the few extra pounds to that. But that is a 365-day thing. I don't go, when I go shopping, I don't look around to see what I want. I'm just basically restocking. It's just the same thing, and I like it.
So how about rest? What's your approach to that?
Yeah, you got to get sleep. I used to be a night owl when I'm an artist, and but you really need sleep. Your brain health, everything down to the DNA level. I'm not always successful at that, but I sleep as late as I can. I'm an artist. That's just what I do. And like I said, I take that 1 day of rest usually on a Friday ahead of my early morning, 8 o'clock Saturday morning speed workout on the grass.
So you're 66, you're training hard, you're eating well, you're getting your rest, you're doing all these things to be healthy and fit. What motivates you to keep doing this at this point in your life?
I am having the time of my life. I'm having more fun doing this than I ever have had doing anything in my whole life. So motivation is not a problem. In fact, in about 3 years and 2 months, and yes, I'm counting, 38 months to go till I am semi-retired at 70. That just means I have more time. I have less time to work and more time to work out. And so, motivation is not a problem.
Your success speaks for itself, but is there anything that you would have done differently if you could go back and change it?
I sure would. I would not have run so many miles when I was younger in college. I don't know what the heck, we're running 100 miles a week. We're doing 2 a days, and we're running 3Ks, 5Ks, 10K at the most. We're not training for a marathon, but 1970s, everybody is learning on the fly. So, but I wouldn't have done all those miles. I would do a lot more cross training, like I'm doing now.
If you could bottle your secret sauce to health and fitness, and what would be the ingredients?
I live a pretty insular life. It's just me and my dog, and I live in one room in a low income building. It's focus. It's basically a happy life is making time for the thing that you really, really love, the people you love, and the things that make you happy. And I really distilled things down to that essence now. And at 66, going on 67, I think I'm entitled to a little me time. And I love my music. One of the big inventions is the MP3 player for me. And I can now listen to my favorite music when I run. And that just gets all the neurons in the brain all firing at once. And I'm listening to all this new music because you want something new to listen to. Uh, and so that's it just makes everything so much more enjoyable. I just love it.
So what do you listen to on your runs? And specifically, like, you're getting ready for a race or a really tough run or what have you. What's that pump song or pump genre that you like to listen to?
Yeah, I'm always looking for something new. I have a tech guy who will download it for me on my MP3 player because I don't know how to do any of that. But I listen. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has a lot of stuff that really that hits the right notes. Pink and sometimes Sheryl Crow. You never know where you're going to find some. Sheryl Crow, I just stumbled upon. She did like a song for the Disney movie Cars, but it's like a racing song, yeah, and it's just so great. Rihanna just came out with a song, and that just pumps me up. But it's some old stuff too, some Creedence Clearwater Revival and some BTO and some some Stones, stuff like that. But I'm always looking for some new things that just really just get me sky high.
But you've mentioned, your career as an artist. I really like to know a little bit more about that. So kind of tell us what kind of mediums you work in and just fill us in on your overall art career in general.
Yeah, I graduated with a degree in art from San Diego State, but nobody ever asked me for my diploma. It's just all experience. I inherited those genes from my dad. Murals, I found a niche for myself doing murals early on, right out of college, large wall murals. Last few years, I got into styrofoam sculpture, uh, and that became a huge part of my business. Dias de la Muertes, Day of the Dead, is a big, huge holiday here in San Diego, especially in Old Town where I do most of my work. So I've done like tons of gigantic styrofoam skulls, the sugar skulls. It's not scary. It's more celebratory. Anything anybody wants. I'm super diverse and I'm super busy, and I got like 5 projects going right now that are all half finished. And so if I could actually make some money at this if I wasn't working out so much. But it does lend me the flexibility and the autonomy to do what I really love to do.
Do you have a social media presence or a website or anything like that where we can find you and take a look at more of your art?
I'm on Instagram and on Facebook, and I post running pictures and art pictures on there. And if you Google image my name, Micheal LeBold, just Google image it, you'll come up with just randomly a bunch of artwork. It's been years and years, thousands and thousands of pieces of artwork, and somewhere they're archived, and thank goodness for the internet, because the artwork that I did very, very early on before the internet was invented, I got just like a few hard copy pictures, and that's it.
All right, Michael. So we're going to take a minute here, have some fun, and see if we can get to know you just a little bit better with some rapid fire questions. So we'll start off with a pretty simple one. What's your favorite color?
It's always been orange. Orange makes everything look warmer. My whole room is orange. I can tinge my artwork with a wash of orange, and it just warms everything up.
Would it be a convertible, a coupe, or a sedan?
You didn't even need to give me options B and C. It'll always be a convertible. I grew up, my dad collected old convertibles, Cadillac and Buick convertibles. I grew up learning how to drive in those things. We call it drop top Cadillac. Yeah.
All right. Book, movie, or podcast?
Podcast. Podcast. I'm a slow reader. And movies, I never go out to the movies. I'll watch whatever's free on TV. But podcast, I love podcasts.
Do you have any particular favorites or?
I was listening to American Experience with Ira Glass on NPR last night. Story about a running contest that Chipotle put on. Really weird, interesting. But I listen to NPR all day long while I'm working, and so the radio is a huge part of my day.
If you had to do one of these, would you go on an expedition down into the deepest cave in the world? Would you summit Mount Everest, or would you take a boat across the Pacific?
Oh God, I wouldn't do any of those things. Afraid of heights. I'm afraid of the deep water and sharks. And what was the first one? Oh, going into a cave. Oh my God. I am risk adverse. I tell you what, I drive slow. I drive a 92 Toyota Corolla. I drive that in the slow lane. No, I don't know. Mount Everest. We'll say Mount Everest. Since I have run a race to the top of Pikes Peak before,
Oh,
I've done that 3 times. The half marathon ascent, which puts me into the medical station every single time with an IV in my arm and an oxygen mask over my face. But I might do it again at 70. But I don't know. I'm afraid I think that might kill me one of these times.
okay. Farmhouse, lake house, penthouse.
Penthouse. Yeah, I'm a downtown person. I live downtown now in the tall buildings, and I live vicariously through others who are having fun.
I think I know the answer to this one, but dog, cat, goldfish.
Dog, dogs all the way, and I'm always going for the underdog. The little guy.
Okay, so you mentioned that you will watch a movie on occasion. Do you have a favorite movie of all time, or?
Oh, favorite movie of all time, Blade Runner. I've watched that a million times. I taught a class in film studies when I was teaching art in high school, and uh, yeah, Blade Runner, Run Lola Run. Casablanca is like a perfect movie. Uh, Alfred Hitchcock, anything Alfred Hitchcock did Psycho and Vertigo and Rear Window and all that stuff. But I'm a sucker for any superhero movie, that comes on, any trashy superhero movie, because I live in a fantasy world, so
Dress suit, casual, or athletic gear?
athletic gear. It's the only thing I own. It's only I have these Adidas soccer pants, zip up things, draws, and all I do is I just keep ordering more and more and more of those. Every time I wear one, I just order more. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, yeah. Athletic casual wear.
I'm going to take track and field off the table. If you had to watch something, would it be basketball, baseball, football?
Football. Grew up a Charger fan. Decorated my room in San Diego Charger as a kid. Had season tickets to the Chargers in the 1970s. Believe it or not, 14 games schedules. It's 7 home games. An entire season ticket package cost me $38.50 when I was in high school. What was it? $5.50 a ticket. Huge football fan. Terrible team, but I didn't care. I loved it. And unfortunately, the NFL is dead to me now since the Chargers left and went to LA a few years ago.
So it is an Olympic year. Who is the one athlete that you're most looking forward to competing?
I gravitate completely to the female athletes. Yeah, I can identify with them more. They're small like me, and I just Abby Steiner. I'm a huge Abby Steiner fan. Parker Valby, cross country and everything. She's the one that got me doing the stationary bike stuff after I heard about her training regime. I watched the Olympics from start to finish. I always have. I love those.
Well, Michael, thanks so much for joining us today. Let us know what makes you an autumn athlete that's not done yet. We really appreciate it. I'd like to wrap things up here by giving you the floor to give our audience some final thoughts.
I got to say that I haven't gotten this far without a lot of help from my family and a lot of help from a lot of friends. Unsolicited, they kind of take me under their wing, and they see somebody who's struggling sometimes with just trying to get by in life, and all that help. I couldn't have done it with all that help. And I got a nod to my little dog Twinkle, who passed away a couple years ago. He was there for 14 years through at every single race, and he was diabetic and blind in the end, and he taught me a lot about perseverance. And all my friends that helped me with his daily insulin shots, and I can't thank him enough for that, because again, no one does this alone, and especially not me.
Well, there you go, folks. Micheal LeBold. He is definitely an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Remember, keep moving, set your own goals, and train hard to achieve them. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.